Welcome to video 2, Types of Cells. Before we begin, please make sure that you have a pen or pencil and your types of cell notes. You can use Google Documents to complete your notes. All the words you need to fill in are in bold white font. Keep your eyes open for these keywords. Let's begin. Let's review what we've already learned so far. A cell is the basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all living things. We learned about the cell theory, and we know that there are 3 main points to the cell theory. 1, all living things are made of cells. 2, the cell is the basic unit of life. And 3, cells arise from pre-existing cells. That means they don't just pop up on their own. We also learned that there are 2 types of cells, or 2 ways to classify cells. Unicellular, as in organisms that are made of one cell, or multicellular, like organisms that are made of many cells. Classifying cells. Well, we learned about unicellular and multicellular organisms, but within that, we can talk about the 2 main types, prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Organisms that are made of prokaryotic cells are called prokaryotes, and ones that are made of eukaryotic cells are called eukaryotes. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes are different for 2 big major reasons. First, the eukaryotes have a nucleus and the prokaryotes do not. I remember this by saying eu, true, pro, no. U for eukaryotes, it's true, they have a nucleus. Pro, no, prokaryotes do not. Maybe that'll help you. And our second reason, the eukaryotes have a membrane-bound organelles. Prokaryotes do not. That just means that eukaryotic cells have a wall or those membranes around each of their organelles to protect them, whereas prokaryotic cells, their organelles just kind of float around all over. Let's move on. Prokaryotic cells, or prokaryotes, do not contain a nucleus. Remember, pro, no. Their DNA is found clumped together in cytoplasm, cytoplasm's that jelly stuff in the cell, and it's known in a region called the nucleoid. They do not have membrane-bound organelles. They do have ribosomes, which are important to making proteins. They have a cell membrane and cytoplasm. Most of prokaryotic cells have a cell wall. Some of them have a capsule or a vacuole. They are very tiny and they are unicellular. That means there's only one cell for this organism. Some examples would be bacteria, archaebacteria. Okay, let's move on. Eukaryotic cells do have a nucleus. Remember, eu, true. Their DNA is found inside of their nucleus. They have membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. They have ribosomes, a cell membrane, cytoplasm. They have a cell wall. They do not have a capsule. They are unicellular or multicellular. They're larger and more complex than prokaryotic cells. These would be protists, fungi, plants, animals. So there are 4 main types of these cells that we learned about, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Within that, you have bacteria, protists, animal, and plants. And those are the 4 we're going to talk about. There are fungal cells that make up fungi, but we're not going to learn about those now. All 4 of these types of cells have some things that are in common. They all have a cell membrane. They all contain cytoplasm, that jelly substance in the cell. They all contain DNA, which gives them all their different characteristics. Prokaryotic cells usually have one long strand of DNA, where eukaryotes have multiple ones called chromosomes. And all 4 cells contain ribosomes, which are structures important to making proteins. Are you ready to move on? Go back to our homepage to complete the Venn diagram activity, which is comparing and contrasting prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Use this video to help you with your diagram. When you're ready to move on, click on either the eukaryotic cell picture or the prokaryotic cell picture to learn even more about these types of cells. Magnify your knowledge, and I'll see you in video 3.